At this time, I would like to welcome all of you to the 14th Annual Simon Benson Dinner Awards. This is PSU's signature event that we have every year, and probably the premier philanthropic event that we have in Portland every year. I've been to all 14 of these. I remember the very first year we just had a little over 400 people, and then tonight we have 1,832 people here. This is the biggest of the Simon Benson dinners that we have ever had, and congratulations to all of you. I'm in awe looking across this room, and it's really exciting to see so many people here. My name is Scott Burns. I'm a geology professor at Portland State University. This is my 44th year of teaching at Portland State, and my 24th year of being at Portland State, 44th year overall. I love Portland State. Portland State is very, very special to me. We have really, really great faculty members. We have great students, and we have a great administration that reaches down to the faculty, the staff, to the students, and at the same time reaches out to the community and to the alumni, and at the same time has to deal with a whole bunch of budget cuts every year. On behalf of Vim Vivel, our president, I would like to welcome all of you to this special event sponsored by the Bank of America. I never realized that speaking to a group like this would be like freshmen on the very, very first day of classes. But I know that you have lots of friends around you, and you would love to have a chance to talk to them. But if you just give me a chance just to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing tonight, I will do that. Number one, there are 4 different things that I would like to present tonight that are very, very important. Number one are our award winners. And we are tonight celebrating the philanthropic achievements of Rick and Erica Miller, and then we are also at the same time paying tribute to the pioneering work of Bill Stoller. Both of them have their MBAs from Portland State University. I got a chance to talk to Rick and Erica earlier tonight. They're really, really nice people. And in addition, Rick will be the tallest guy that you will find here in this room, and he is also a 7th generation Oregonian, so he's been around here for an awful long time. Bill Stoller is a very, very close friend of mine. There are 3 different things that we have similar passions for. Number one, we both love Rotary. We're both presidents of the Downtown Rotary Club in Portland, Oregon. Number 2, we both love wine. Bill has one of the greatest wineries in the state of Oregon, and tonight you are going to be tasting some of the wines that we have got here. Number one, so we thank Bill for that. And number 3, both of us love basketball. At our age, we're still playing basketball, and it's really lots of fun. Tonight, we are going to be celebrating both of them. Number 2, our speaker for tonight. Join me in welcoming our honored guest, journalist and news anchor, Anderson Cooper from CNN. How about a round of applause? Now, Anderson, we have been praying all week that there is not going to be any crisis in the world. No hurricane, no tornadoes, no coups, no other things like that, because we were scared that all of a sudden Anderson would go shooting off to the Middle East or someplace like that to do an interview. And you are here.
I'm here.
Now, we did have a plan B. We did have, and that was, we were going to give a geological lecture on the hydrothermal alteration of the andesites on Mount Hood. But I think that most of them are going to be mostly interested in hearing from you later on.
That's actually what I'm going to be speaking about as well.
Oh, you're going to be speaking about the same thing. Yeah. But I just have to be aware that a fraternity brother of mine, Peter Bhatia, who is the editor of the Oregonian, is going to be asking you some questions. And he told me he's going to be doing some incisive questions, kind of get back at you. All right. So how about a round of applause for Anderson? And welcome to Portland. You're also going to get a chance to hear from some incredible students. I got a chance yesterday to hear a couple of them give their talks. Wow. They are unbelievable. And then hear a little bit about my favorite institution. Love talking about here. Vim Vivell is going to be talking about that too. Portland State is proud to honor the Simon Benson legacy and to celebrate the power of philanthropy in our community and the daily lives of the students and faculty. This evening, we'll hear how the award recipients have transformed lives. Now, they're up on these screens, and nice thing about this room, wherever you are, you'll be able to see the screens. Our recipients tonight will receive a special award. And I'm very proud of this award because it was designed by a professor emeritus at Portland State. And this is Mishigo Kusagi. And he is now retired, but he has been commissioned to do a lot of sculptures that are found on the Transit Mall and the Washington Park Rose Garden here in Portland, but all up and down the Oregon coast. And so all of the recipients will be receiving these incredible awards coming up later on. Number two, I would like to especially thank our sponsor. And I'd like to share a brief video with you which honors this evening's presenting sponsor, which is the Bank of America. And we would like to, they have been a longtime sponsor of Portland State and also in Portland, a cornerstone of our community. And I'd like to say thank you to the 1,600 members of the Bank of America community, Merrill Lynch, and U.S. Trust employees in our community for their leadership and also their continued support of PSU. So if you watch the video, you will get a chance to see a little bit about Bank of America.
Well, I came to Portland State because I wanted to obtain a finance degree, and Portland State's known for its renowned business school. Their professors are great. They have not only the knowledge, but the working experience as well. I am currently working for Bank of America Merrill Lynch on the wealth management side, and the courses that's offered so far has been able to help me connect my real-life working experience with my academic experience.
We're all about partnerships with government, with not-for-profits, and very much with business. Our partnership with Bank of America is an example of that, lending their executives to come talk to our students and providing financial support for scholarships and for faculty research.
Philanthropy is really the cornerstone of Bank of America's community commitment here locally. This focus on job readiness, career readiness, we know that it's a really important tool in our economic vitality and recovery here in Oregon, and so it's something we're really pleased to be a part of.
Through the generous support of Bank of America Merrill Lynch and its tuition reimbursement program, I'm not only able to get a degree, but I'm able to advance my career within the firm and become an advisor within the next year.
At Bank of America, we know that developing a vibrant, skilled workforce in Oregon is very important to our local economic vitality. And we also know that Portland State University plays a critical role in that workforce training and development. So on behalf of the 1,600 employees that live here in Oregon at Bank of America, U.S. Trust, and Merrill Lynch, we want to thank Portland State University for being such a strong community partner and really joining us in contributing to Oregon's economic development.
A special thanks to Roger Hinshaw and his entire team at Bank of America, and we will get a chance to hear a little bit more from them later on. Now, additionally, we want to recognize a new sponsor that we have here tonight, Avamere, who sponsored tonight's well-attended VIP reception that we had. Thank you for their support, too. Next, what I'd like to do is recognize our two dedicated event co-chairs, Rick Hawkins and Azam Qayyum, whose leadership was critical this evening. Rick and Azum, would you please stand? Where are they? Okay. Rick was a past PSU Foundation trustee and a current member of the Wilhelm Society, and Azam is a current member of the PSU Foundation. Tonight would not have been successful as much if it had not been for these two influential individuals. Now I'd like to bring to the stage a couple of our all-star students, and we've got a lot of them at Portland State, and they are going to be the ones that are going to be introducing the other sponsors that we have got. Number one, we have Tavi Gupta, and then we also, who is a History and Judaic Studies major, and the Joshua Adeusi, who is a theater arts major. How about a round of applause for these two students?
We are grateful for the support of tonight's principal sponsors, Fred Meyer, Harold and Arlene Schnitzer Care Foundation, Howard S. Wright, Jack and Lynn Lowacker, Pete and Chris Nickerson, Rogue Venture Partners and the Fairbridge Foundation, the Ralph and Bunny Schlesinger Foundation, and the Peter W. Stott Foundation.
We would like to recognize our leadership-level sponsors, the Gwen Burns family, Harnish Properties, Eisler Northwest LLC, J.P. Morgan Chase, Miller Family Holdings, Portland Monthly Magazine, Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon, Twin Med and First Quality, and Umpqua Bank.
We also have 18 supporting sponsors to thank this evening: Cascade Pacific Holdings, LLC, Conway, Janine B. Coles,
Daimler Trucks North America, GBD Architects and R&H Construction, Geffen Mesher and Rick Hawkins,
Girding Edlin, the Greenbrier Companies, Key Bank,
KPFF Consulting Engineers and ZGF Architects LLP, Lease Crutcher Lewis, the Portland State University Foundation,
Skanska, Stimson Lumber Company, University of Oregon Lundquist College of Business,
Ventos Inc., Washington Trust Bank and Hayden Homes, and Wells Fargo. Please join us in a round of applause for the exceptional support of our sponsors.
Thank you very much, Tavy and Joshua, and for being on the stage tonight. We are delighted that we also have a lot of past Simon Benson Award recipients here this evening, and I get a chance to introduce all of them. And if you would hold your applause until the end, that would be great. It's kind of fun for me because I get to introduce my mom at the beginning. So the Gwen Burns family, number one. And if they would stand too, and if they want to stand and also wave, that would be great. Janine Coles, number two. Stephanie Fowler and Irving Levin. The Mark family, Bob and Jane Morrow, Peter Stott, Arlene Schnitzer and Jordan Schnitzer, and Marta and Ken Thrasher. How about a round of applause for the past winners that we have for this group? Now, holding together Portland State, there are three very, very important groups that we have that are serving the university. Number one, we have the PSU Foundation. We also have the PSU Alumni Association board members, and we finally get a chance to have a governing board. And so they all three are in attendance tonight. Could those people who are members of either the foundation board, the Alumni Association, or the new governing board please stand, and let's have a round of applause for all of these people. And at this particular point, I would like to bring to the stage our student representative who is going to be on that governing board coming up very, very soon, and that is Ms. Pam Campos Palma. How about a round of applause for Pam?
Good evening. I'm honored to be here tonight and really proud to represent Portland State as a student and a leader. As a continuing Air Force intelligence analyst of 7 years, a Latina and daughter of a Honduran immigrant, I've been blessed with many unique opportunities and challenges in my life. At a young age, I was given the opportunity to travel the world, volunteer and work with different communities. Being frequently put in high-risk, high-stake, high-pressure situations allowed me to grow in resilience and character. However, it was in this role of service that I came to realize that I could not unlock my full potential without developing myself further as an intellectual. My journey to and at Portland State has been one of challenges, life-changing epiphanies, and a place to explore some of my deepest values, communal progression and continued service to others. Transitioning into student and civilian life after finishing my active duty time was very challenging and surreal. I sought to better understand politics, government, and really systems that I had given up certain liberties to defend. I currently continue to serve in the Air Force Reserves, but having this deeper understanding and education has been so personally important in order for me to serve a greater purpose. PSU really offered me more than classroom learning. I discovered a place to pursue my passion of empowerment and empowering others within the student organization which I currently lead, Las Mujeres de la Raza, or the Women of La Raza, a Latina women's empowerment organization. And I've continually, with Las Mujeres, worked to bring Latino families and their children onto the campus, enabling them to visualize within themselves as part of the university, as attending college, something they may not have otherwise considered a possibility. Encompassing my passion for empowerment and political activism, I am very proud to have been selected this past summer to be part of the 10th anniversary class of New Leadership Oregon, the award-winning, thank you, the award-winning statewide Women's Leadership Development Program housed at the Center for Women, Politics, and Policy right here at our very own PSU. I feel immensely blessed for the support and opportunity Portland State has provided me. I am honored to have been recommended by PSU leaders and my peers to serve on the PSU governing board as a student voting member. It is my sincere hope to inspire current and future students, staff, faculty, and you to take pride in your story in our community. I hope to galvanize a raised consciousness of our individual and communal power to make lasting and absolutely powerful change. Thank you very much. It is now my distinct honor to introduce Portland State University's president, Vim Vival.
Thank you, Pam. As one of our new board members, he is one of my bosses. I'm going to show her some respect, representing the students. Good evening to everyone here. What a great crowd. Pam reminds us that higher education changes lives, not only for our students, but for the lives they touch. That is what tonight is all about. While we're recognizing remarkable women, I'd like to acknowledge my wife, Alice. Honey, I hope you don't mind that I invited 1,800 of our best friends for our wedding anniversary today. This has been a great year for philanthropy at Portland State. We raised a record $30 million in fiscal year 2013. We've made major progress on meeting our fundraising goals for the School of Business expansion and on the Viking Pavilion. And in this year's legislative session, we received approval for both projects, bringing them closer to becoming a reality for our students. I'd like to recognize all of the elected officials who are here with us tonight. Please stand, the officials, so we can recognize you. Thank you for the work you do to support Oregonians. Now, with over 1,800 people in attendance this evening and over $1.2 million raised, this is our most successful Simon Benson Awards ever. This dinner celebrates the power of philanthropy to transform lives. One way is through scholarships. I'd like to recognize the Mabel Clark McDonald Fund for its scholarship challenge, a $150,000 matching grant, which we have surpassed tonight. Now, usually, this is when I start to give you a bunch of facts and statistics about what a great university we have, how we are Oregon's largest university, how we graduated more than 6,000 students this past spring, the most in Oregon history, and that U.S. News & World Report just ranked PSU as one of its nation's top 10 up-and-coming universities. But not this year. This year, I want to tell you a story. Tesca Fitzgerald is from Tigard and began working with robotics at the age of 5. She joined her older sister in Lego robotics competitions. Their team was called the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. She later renamed it the Vikings and was featured in O, the Oprah magazine. She chose PSU in part from having met our faculty at regional science fairs. Tesca worked on research projects on topics like machine learning. Internships at Google and at Portland software startup Puppet Labs followed. Her software engineering capstone team also worked with Tripwire. This past spring, she graduated with a 3.87 GPA at age 16. Tesca is now in the PhD program in computer science at Georgia Tech. The article about her in the Oregonian had more than 400,000 hits from around the world, making it their most popular story of the year. That's a student you don't soon replace, although her 12-year-old sister will be starting at PSU next year. This year's incoming class is one of the largest, strongest, and most diverse in our history. We've enrolled 52 freshmen with a perfect 4.0 high school GPA. Enrollment in our honors program, showcased in the opening video, grew by more than a third to 612. We have amazing students, many of whom are the first in their families to attend college while working and caring for families. For many students, this is quite a challenge. That's when Robert Mercer steps in to keep them from falling by the wayside. His title is Assistant Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. Robert guides them from their initial contact with the university to their graduation. 4 years ago, Robert helped launch the Last Mile program, which identified students who were close to graduating before stopping out and helped them complete their degree. Since then, the program has found hundreds of such cases and helped over 400 students finish that last mile to earn a degree. This September, we recognized Robert at a ceremony where he was quick to share the credits. He told us that the recognition belonged to everybody who has made their career and continues to make their career about helping students succeed. We gave him a standing ovation anyway. Thanks to Robert and to many, many others, our Alumni Association is now more than 130,000 strong. They include a representative in the Greek Parliament, the CEO of UPS, and the starting tight end for the Denver Broncos. This year, we'll add thousands more. If you are a PSU alum or a current student, please stand so that we may recognize you. Our alumni have achieved outstanding success in many fields. When TriMet launched its new mobile ticketing app this fall, it was thanks to a pair of international management grads, Nat Parker and Michael Gray, who formed Globe Sherpa back in 2010. Now anyone with a smartphone can use it to buy tickets. With a team of 15 employees, Nat and Michael are now looking to expand. These past few years, we've seen quite a few ideas at PSU translate into technologies and businesses. The Portland State Business Accelerator is home to more than 30 software, bioscience, and clean tech startups. Those companies include spin-offs from PSU faculty, like Design Medics, with promising treatment for malaria and other diseases. We continue to expand this work, strengthening our partnerships with companies like Intel, which employs 1,000 PSU alums, and with Oregon Health and Science University, where a quarter of the incoming medical school class comes from PSU, more than any other university. Next fall, we'll open the Collaborative Life Sciences building on the South Waterfront, where we will share programs and space with OHSU. But now I want to focus back on alumni. Right now, it's my pleasure to present the Simon Benson Award for Alumni Achievement to Bill Stoller. We are proud to call Bill one of our own. He earned his master's degree in business administration from Portland State in 1979. His roots are in family farming in Dayton, Oregon. He's a serial entrepreneur and has developed numerous successful businesses, both in human resource franchising and as a vintner. His career began in 1973 with Acme Personnel Services, and 10 years later, he co-founded Express Employment Professionals, building it into an international staffing company with more than 600 franchises. Bill also has the distinction of being the only Yamhill County native to be a first-generation wine principal. In 1993, he purchased a family turkey farm and transformed it into Stoller Family Estate, an award-winning winery. Stoller was the first winery in the world to be certified LEED Gold. We're delighted to serve Stoller Estate wine this evening in honor of Bill. And he plays as hard as he works. Bill has run the Hood to Coast Relay not once, not twice, but 20 times. And he has played basketball in 4 World Masters games. He's joined tonight by the woman who captured his heart, LaRuth Switzer, and by his 4 children, Jason, Jenny, Ken, and Kyle. Bill also has 4 grandchildren. The video we're about to see offers us a glimpse into the exceptional work of Bill Stoller.
He's a family man that is very attached to the people that he loves and cares about, family and friends. He's an entrepreneur, and he has proven that by 2 very successful businesses in his life. Most people can only boast one of those. I think that Bill is somebody that believes that a building is 4 walls, but what matters are the people that reside within it.
He came from a farming family, and he decided that he was going to go to college and he was going to get his degree, and then from there, he took his responsibility into his own hands. And I think from that, he just wants to help other people succeed. He's driven. He wants to do something, he does it, and he succeeds in it.
Bill is a very self-disciplined, humble individual. He's very unassuming. He is very committed to whatever goal he's attaining, and whether that's in his family or personally or in his business. And I've watched him, he'll set a goal and he will not change course until he gets to that goal, and it's a real strength.
Bill's a very successful entrepreneur, created a very successful business, and he's a great businessman. We look for successful business people who represent the economy here to serve on our advisory council.
He had this vision of taking personnel services, staffing services to another level. And he was able to implement that vision to the point that right now it's an enormous and highly successful, highly respected corporation.
His dedication to Portland State and his loyalty and the way he kind of embraces everything, I think, is just part of who he is and how his business is run. And I think a lot of the reasons why he has been successful is he's worked with organizations such as PSU and professionals and grown with them.
I think one of Bill's best attributes as a leader is he's able to empower others, and he does that in his family. He empowers his children to achieve. He does that in his business. He really puts people in positions and empowers them to be successful, and then he supports that effort. And then with his friends, I mean, he helps his friends by coming alongside them in whatever issues they're facing.
I think Bill expects a lot of all of us that he loves and cares about, and he sets high standards. But I think we're always better for it. Bill has become the best that he can be, and I think he expects that of the rest of us.
He's been so driven to succeed in whatever he does, it just gets to the point where, you know, it rubs off on you, like, doesn't really matter what you're doing, you try to do your best to see it through as best as you can. I think when we were growing up, he always said, was it honesty and responsibility, and everything else will fall in line.
Please join me in congratulating Bill Stoller, recipient of the 2013 Simon Benson Award for Alumni Achievement. Bill, please join me right here.
Thank you. And that was very, very nice, very, very nice of Portland State. Throughout all of this, when it was first announced, they've just been terrific. Thank all of you for coming tonight. It's a fabulous evening, and you are the ones that have certainly made it very successful. Congratulations to Rick and Erica on their award, and also for having so many of your friends come tonight. It was a great achievement to have them here. Mr. Cooper, it's great to have you here tonight, and we're looking forward to your remarks. Not too many people know this, but I had two entrants into Portland State University. The first one is when I was a junior, senior in high school, and I volunteered to be the sports writer for our school newspaper, which really ended up being the town newspaper of Dayton. Probably had 25 subscriptions, but Portland State hosted a high school journalism seminar class, and I took part in that. And then, of course, I did my stint as that sports writer, and you're so lucky that I chose, through that experience, not to get into that field. Can you imagine me being a sports writer for the Oregonian or whomever? The second entrance into Portland State really began in 1994. After graduating from Pacific University, I needed to take another class in order to enter the MBA program in 1995, and I did that. And I tell you, I bet I'm the only person that Portland State that's ever had that it took 4 years to graduate, because I took one class a term in order to do it, because I was working full-time, and it took me a little bit longer to get my work done, I guess. But when I look back upon my experience at Portland State, I can't help but think about the professors I had, what I learned from them, as well as the students I went to school with. And I met another one tonight who I've known for many years. I remember one time going to his house, and we stayed up all night doing a term paper together because we were on a team. And I certainly remember many of those professors, and in fact, two of those in the last couple years have been out to the winery, wine tasting with friends. As I reflect over my 40 years in business, I think of two things that I'd like to pass on that Portland State helped me with, as well as other factors in my life. One is, just because others fail, that doesn't mean you have to fail or not to succeed following their footsteps. That's happened in many of my instances where companies have failed, but then you're able to take on and build it from there. Yes, you do have to have change, and you do have to make change in order to make that successful. The second thing is you have to build a sustainable business, and one of those is what our father taught us, that he used to save money and he paid for his tractors. And he would have very little debt, and I think that is very important in sustaining your business. The second is your people are your business, and the people that I've had the pleasure of working with, whether it's here in Portland or Oklahoma City or elsewhere, or the franchisees around the country, they are the ones that make our company the greatest, and I thank them very, very much. Finally, this really ends up being all about the students. This is what all of what you contribute to Portland State, what everyone else contributes to Portland State, is the students, and we honor them tonight. Thank them for all of their efforts as well. Thank you again.
Thanks a lot, Bill, and we're honored to have you and count you as one of our own. I would now like to introduce our student jazz ensemble, who will play for us while we enjoy our dinner, and we'll be back with more program in a little bit. Enjoy your meal.
At Portland State, we have an absolutely wonderful jazz program, and we're very, very proud of them, and thank you very much to all the musicians who played tonight. Now we have an absolutely wonderful group to entertain you a little bit more, and this is our choir that we have, award-winning choir. It's under the guidance of Ethan Sperry, and this past year, they were invited to go to Italy to the Sagizzi International Choir Competition that is there. The United States had not had an American group there for 9 years, and guess what? They won. So how about a round of applause for our choir that we have tonight? And thank you very much, Ethan. Well, thank you very much to Ethan and the PSU choir. Absolutely wonderful. I get a chance to tell you about some of the things that are on your table tonight that you get to take home. Number one, there are CDs for you, and they are CDs of the choir. They're the award-winning choir that just came back from Italy, and so we encourage you to take those home and play with them. Secondly, there are the wine glasses on your table are also for you. And so we encourage you to take those home tonight and be sure to sip those Stoller wines. I checked out the years and they are just absolutely wonderful. And the third thing, be sure to take home are the Van Dyne chocolates. As a kid growing up here in Portland, my grandmother used to entice me into different things and by the use of Van Dyne chocolate. Scott, you can get a Van Dyne chocolate for this. Be sure to take those home. They are a tradition in Portland and have been for a long time. We have a very, very special speaker tonight. And hopefully you get a chance to hear her because her talk is very awe-inspiring. She is from Zimbabwe in Africa. And if you get a chance to listen, I think that you will really be taken for that. I would like to introduce Zanelle Mutefa, and she is going to tell you a very, very special message. How about a round of applause for Zanelle?
Thank you, Mr. Burns. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to stand before you and quite a privilege to be a student at Portland State University. I am certain my enrollment was made possible by your endless generosity, and for that, I am truly grateful. A few weeks ago, as I began to write this speech, my imagination traveled to this very day. An overwhelming feeling rose within my soul as I thought of the day that I would stand in front of hundreds of people with the hope to vividly paint a picture that would successfully bring them into my world. At the age of 3, I watched my father battle cancer, resulting in his painful death shortly before my 5th birthday. 5 years later, my mother became very ill as she suffered from an enlarged heart. She passed away as well. 4 years ago, I witnessed 780 people fill my village in Zimbabwe, Africa, to offer their condolences for the loss of my parents. It was the first time in 9 years that I was able to return to Africa and feel the sun of my homeland hit my face and the people of my heart gaze into my eyes. I promised myself I would learn and embrace my culture, my family's traditions, and most importantly, the legacy my parents had left behind. Among the hundreds of people attending my parents' services, I noticed the woman who committedly takes care of my family's village. She rises at 4 o'clock in the morning to work in the fields, feed her family, and go back to work. When she returns home, she cooks, cleans, and sleeps, only to return to the same routine again. One afternoon, when the sun was at its highest peak, I watched her as she began the 2-mile walk to fetch clean water. With a desire to assist her, I volunteered to watch the children while she was away. Immediately, 6 girls swarmed around me, singing and dancing. One of them pulled my arm and said, "Take me to America with you. I want to learn. I'm a smart girl just like you." She began to recite poems and demonstrate mathematic problems that not only baffled me because of her age, but filled my heart with pride, with hope, and a profound sense of responsibility. At that moment, I believed that it is my responsibility to get a college education and achieve a position that would allow me to grant opportunities for young women worldwide. The only You see, the only difference between these women and myself is that I was given a chance. My life changed the moment I was adopted by my simply amazing American family. This granted me a citizenship, a positive plan for my future, and most importantly, love. My parents have the same heart for generosity as each of you in this room. Because of you, there are programs at PSU, such as the Diversity and Multicultural Student Services, which allow me to found and serve as the Director of Empowering Sisterhood. This program empowers women by providing mentoring resources and encourages community outreach. This past summer, I was the media content intern at Sesame Workshop in New York City, building content for shows that educate children worldwide. Yes, I worked for Big Bird, and I absolutely loved it. This opportunity greatly expanded my education and my skills. I aspired to build my career in the media industry as an author and a television personality serving as the catalyst for women and youth. I believe the media is the largest educational platform. Therefore, if I can travel the world and broadcast stories that would influence people globally, I would be fulfilling my ultimate purpose. I believe everyone has a story to tell. They just need someone to amplify them. Our gratitude is endless because you, ladies and gentlemen, change our lives. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now I would love to bring back to our stage our president, Wim Wiebel.
Very tough to follow speakers like that. Thank you, Zanel. We're so proud of you. Your story is amazing. Now, I have the honor to turn to the awarding of this year's Simon Benson Award for Philanthropy to Rick and Erica Miller. Rick is a rare breed, a seventh-generation Oregonian. His family came to Oregon in 1853, 6 years before statehood, to Homestead not far from here. Rick is an example of what can be achieved if you're willing to sacrifice and focus on your dreams. When Rick realized he had entrepreneurial interests some 20 years ago, he cobbled together enough money to invest in his first business. This investment became the Avamere Group, and Rick still serves as chair. He's also the co-founder of Rogue Venture Partners, dedicated to helping Oregon-based entrepreneurs and early-stage businesses with funding and mentorship. Erica, his wife, grew up in Olympia and graduated from the University of Puget Sound. She had a successful career in banking, first in Seattle and then in Portland. She's also an accomplished tennis player, played in college, and she learned from her family the importance of giving back to the community. She puts this into practice today, volunteering for Beaverton, Riverdale, and Lake Oswego school districts. Rick and Eric are incredibly generous with their success. They have given back to our community and state with more than $15 million to Portland area public schools, the Ronald McDonald House, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Portland Community Church, University of Oregon, and of course, Portland State. Rick found inspiration for supporting the underserved after trials of his own. At age 18, doctors found a large tumor in his brain. Just 3 years ago, Rick was again diagnosed with cancer. Both times he fought back successfully and now has a clean bill of health. And finally, Rick and Erica would tell you their greatest rewards come from being parents, from learning how their children see the world and helping them with the challenges they face each day. This video will tell you a little bit more about this exceptional couple.
Very much a deep and sincere interest in her heart to connect with other people. She always asks how everyone's doing in my family, which is a delight. She's so busy with her own family that it would be easy for her to just talk about them only.
When he started the company, he sold everything he had and moved in with his mom. Those humble beginnings really did have an impact, and I think that's part of why he is such a huge giver today. He really does appreciate where he came from and what he has, and that's why he gives back. He's a very generous person.
Being around the Miller's house, this is the Brady Bunch. There's quite a brood there, crossing a lot of ages and a lot of energy levels. And balancing all this act plus the business and philanthropy, I've still found it just incredible that Eric has always got time to just ask a question, answer a question. It's a balancing act, and it's an impressive one.
Well, I can tell you he's been incredibly generous to the business school. Rick and Eric have made a very large gift to our building campaign, and Rick is the co-chair of our building campaign, and he's been all in helping us, and we're well on our way.
Eric is probably the rudder of their boat when it comes to certain things that they do collectively. She has been able to really influence Rick in so many positive ways, and because of that, you just see how that plays into the decision-making that they have in the things that they do philanthropically.
We were a school that needed help, and Rick I think he became interested in helping, but he would ask us hard questions like, what is our vision? Where are we headed? What are our core principles? And as he helped us flesh those out, when we could really give him a sense of direction and where we needed help, he would put all his chips in.
We always found Erica to be not only very engaging and someone who cared about people, but also someone who understood and helped these businesses to become successful. She's always enthusiastic, positive. She has so much positive energy that it makes it a joy to work with her.
Well, he's larger than life, of course, but he has such a quiet tone that kind of belies the presence that you feel when he walks into a room. He always has such a keen interest in the person he's talking to. He deflects a lot of the conversation from himself and listens really, really well.
I started Portland Community Church September 11th, 2011. And Rick said, I'm coming with you. And so he and his wife, Erica, came, and right from the beginning. And he said, Ron, I'd like to show you a piece of property. He had this house Avamere owned. I looked at it, and I said, this kind of looks like a church. And so Rick gave us that piece of property.
Rick and I have been friends for 5+ years, and we spent a lot of time talking about entrepreneurs and Oregon and how to give back to them. We've invested in over 10 companies now. Rick is the most generous person in my life.
Now I have a special announcement to make. Of the $15 million that Rick and Erica have shared in Oregon, the largest gift they have given to date is their gift to Portland State University. Rick and Erica are our lead donors for the School of Business Building campaign with their $8 million gift. Thank you, Rick and Erica. Please join me in welcoming them to the stage.
Wow. Thank you, Vim. First, a huge thank you to Debbie, and I wish I knew where you're sitting, for all the work you and your team have done for this event. It's just truly unbelievable. Words cannot do justice to how Rick and I feel about being honored tonight. Giving back is how I was raised. From as early as I can remember, my folks have told me, and actually my sister and brother who are here, we are blessed to be a blessing. And for every $100 that you earn, figure out a way to give 10 back. And then my dad also said, as a side note, as you budget, as you grow older, you're probably going to need another $40 or $50 to go to the government. Dad, that is true. These are the same values and practices that we put into play with our family today. And actually all of our 6 children that are blended together like a crazy brood, they're all here as well. And we're thankful for that. Rick and I both share the same vision, and that is to give back with an impact and help lives to be bettered. I am married to the most gracious and giving man. I am honored not only to be his wife, but to make a difference in this world with him. Honey?
Hello? Okay. Isn't she fantastic? Erica is a wonderful mom to our kids. She's a terrific friend to our friends, and as you can see, she's my biggest fan. Erica, thank you for making me feel 7 feet tall. So let's just cut right to the chase and talk about that for a second. I want to answer some questions I know that are on your minds. So 7 feet, ½ inch, 6 pounds, 13 ounces when I was born. My mom's 5'2", my dad's 6'5". What else? You know, a size 18 shoe, and you know what? The weather is fine up here. It's remarkably similar to what you're experiencing right now. So now that we're done with that. You know, it is a little embarrassing to be 7 feet tall and not an NBA basketball player. Little story, I was in Chicago at O'Hare a few years ago, and just a vision, the place that I'm at, the lobby is got about 150 kids and their parents. They're all on their way to Washington, D.C. I'm on my way home. 3 kids come up and they said, you know, we know you're somebody. What team do you play for? And I said, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm really nobody. And so they walked away, a little curious, a little frustrated, and I watched them for a couple minutes, and they watched me. A few minutes went by. They came back with a few more of their friends. There's about a dozen of them. And this time, they were on a mission. They had pen and paper in their hands, and they wanted one thing. The leader of the pack said, look, you said you didn't play basketball, but we know you're lying. We know you're somebody. We know you play basketball. We know you're famous. As a matter of fact, we've talked. We've all seen you play on TV. We think you're absolutely awesome. We want your autograph. I didn't know what to do. So what do? I start signing autographs. Rick Miller, number 100. What's your name? Chuck. Nice to meet you. Rick Miller, 7 feet tall, Chicago, whatever. But then everybody else in the lobby, all the other kids that didn't have nerve enough to come up and ask me for their for my autograph, got interested, and they all started moving in. And I needed out. My heart was pounding, my body was sweating, and finally, the beautiful words, from the intercom, your flight is boarding. I was never so happy to get out of a place. But I'll tell you, it is rather embarrassing to not be someone or something that most others think you are or want you to be or think you should be. When I was looking around telling that story, I was thinking about you, Chris. And you could do me a favor if the next time I'm in a situation like that, could I just tell him I'm you? Chris Dudley's here. So, Bill Stoller, Bill, congratulations to you. Eric and I are honored to be recognized alongside such a class act. You're a great man. Congratulations. Yeah. To them, we'd be remiss if we didn't say thank you, and we both admire you for your leadership and your vision and your passion for Portland State. Thank you for all you do. Vim, if tonight is an example, if you just look around and take it in, your impact as a leader here at PSU is obvious. So thank you. We got about 2 minutes between the two of us, and we're taking a little bit longer, so we're ready to wrap it up here in just a second. Scott Dawson, you're out there somewhere. Scott is the dean of the business school here at Portland State, and a professor of mine when I went to school here. Scott, you're another example of what makes this school great. A mentor of mine a few years ago, Gary Ward, told me, he said, Rick, life is about relationships, and he's right. I spent most of my adult life serving seniors and the disabled. And I was curious about what it was like to live in our community, so I decided to move into two of our retirement and assisted living facilities for a year. It was a remarkable experience, and I learned a lot about the customer experience. My favorite memory, I just want to tell you this really quick, was out at an assisted living facility in Hillsborough. It was early one morning, and like most mornings, I was behind by the time I got up. I was making a beeline to the door when this great senior lady came up to me and she said, Mr. Miller? I said, yeah. She said, could I just bother you for a few minutes? Would you consider having a cup of coffee with me this morning? I'd like to share a few things with you. I looked at my watch and I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'd love to spend the time, but I'm busy. I've got some really important meetings, and I'm so far behind. But how about tonight when I come home, let's look each other up, and we'll schedule some time in the next 2 to 3 weeks and get to know each other. And with more persistence, she said, Mr. Miller, do you want to know how I'm going to spend my day today? And I said, no, ma'am, tell me. She said, well, I'm going to start off. My first appointment is with my doctor. You see, I've been battling cancer for a very long time, and he's going to tell me this morning how long I have to live, and I don't think I've got much longer. Mr. Miller, do you know how I'm going to spend my afternoon? And I said, well, tell me. She said, well, I'm going to have dialysis, and it's not a great way to spend an afternoon. You see, my kidneys have failed because of all the chemo and radiation treatment. And I thought, well, she said, I'm scared, I'm lonely, I just want somebody to talk to, and I hoped you'd be the person that would do that with me this morning. I felt like an idiot, and I said, let's talk. So we went into the dining room, grabbed a cup of coffee, we had a remarkable session together, and just when I thought we were done, she said, some of my favorite memories were with my dad, who loved tequila. We'd get together and talk about stories, and on his porch, and she said, Mr. Miller, I'm not a snoot, but I noticed that when you moved in here, she was a neighbor, that you brought some liquor with you and you had some tequila. So she said, I got nothing to lose. Would you consider having a little tequila with me? I looked at my watch one more time, 7:30 in the morning, and I thought, what the heck? What's the worst thing that can happen? So I went upstairs and I got the tequila. We went back into the dining room to a far table. I didn't want anybody to know what we were doing. And we spent about another hour to an hour and a half, and she shared some amazing stories over 2 glasses of tequila each. She talked about her dad, who was her hero. She talked about her successes and failures, her fear of dying, and she says, I really miss my dad dearly, and I can't wait to see him. I'm going to see him again soon. She died a couple of weeks later, I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity, I took the opportunity to spend time with that great lady, and I'll always be thankful. She reminded me of three things. She said, look, life is short. Life is all about relationships, like Gary said, and you need to choose how you spend your time. You need to be careful how you choose to spend your time every day. You need to do it wisely because life is short. So to Vim and Portland State, congratulations on such a great night. Thank you for all your generosity and with your time and money. And on behalf of Eric and I, we're really honored to receive this award tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Wonderful. Hey, you got great comedy act.
A couple things we learned tonight from Anderson. The line is thread thin. And from his dad, reach out to each other. Rick, Erica, and Bill, congratulations on your award. It's so exciting. Rick brought forward a couple of important things, relationships in our lives, and then spending time with others. And I think both of those are very important. Thank you to all of you for listening to Zanelle. Wow, did she do an absolutely great job. Yesterday when we were here doing the dress rehearsal, she had memorized that whole thing. There were no teleprompters there. That was straight from the heart. And for the Taiki drummers, the choir, and the jazz ensemble, thank you very much for playing for us tonight. The Bank of America, thank you for sponsoring all of this. Vim and Alice, thank you for your leadership at Portland State. We all appreciate everything you do. And to all of you who are here tonight, thank you for coming out. The 1,832 of you, thanks for supporting Portland State. Remember the Van Dyne candies that are on your table. Drive safely tonight. Come back next year. Thanks again to all of you.